now Thursday, September the 16th, which means there are less than 6 days left before my transplant. I've had a fairly busy weekend. Starting Friday, I had 8 a.m. appointments to get Zarxio, which is a growth hormone, specifically targeting white blood cells, including your stem cells. You do that for 4 days, and then at the end of the 4th day, you get a shot called Mozabil, which helps push out the stem cells from in the bone marrow into your bloodstream. That way they can collect them. For those of you wishing to be a donor, I'll tell you that this process isn't side effect free. Nothing significant, but it is uncomfortable. There's usually bone pain affiliated with the major bone marrow centers in your body, which include like your sternum, your back, your hips, your skull, your legs, shoulders, and a couple of other things, all of which ached much kind of like growing pains were when you were growing up, but a little bit more on the extreme side. On top of that, for me, my heart rate was a little higher over the weekend, and I couldn't really sleep much at all. I was getting like 4 or 5 hours a night, but for some reason I still didn't feel too tired. Plus, I think the worst part was the nausea. My nausea was worse than it has been since I gotten out of the hospital. I didn't really eat much at all, and those are pretty much all your side effects you're going to experience, but the nausea can get pretty bad. So Monday I had a transfusion catheter put in, and if you're a little squeamish, don't look. It's kind of weird, but I'll show you what it looks like. So this is a tube, and it has little 3 connectors at the bottom there. I'm not going to pull them out. This tube goes underneath your skin, up your chest, over your collarbone, and into your neck, where it goes inside a vein. Basically, it's just a larger conduit, and it's faster to give and take from, more so than a PICC line. And they need to use it for apheresis, or the collection process for the stem cells. It's surprisingly less awkward to get used to than the PICC line that I've had in the past, but it's still something to get used to. You're sitting on your chest. Can't really, I'm a stomach sleeper, so sleeping on my stomach's kind of out of the question now, especially if I'm hooked up. The apheresis part on Tuesday itself was pretty neat, but it wasn't something I really enjoyed and would rather not do again. It's kind of like donating plasma mixed in with a little bit of dialysis. They hook 2 lines up to the 3 from the catheter, and one takes blood while the other one gives back after they've spun the stem cells out. They have to give a separating agent while they're spinning it to help the blood separate, to get the stem cells out of it. And that separating agent, when it goes back in, kind of makes you feel a little weird, feel funny. It's like your whole body is vibrating just a tiny amount. And it's a known side effect, and they have stuff to give you to help reduce it, but it just wasn't pleasant. I'm glad it was only 1 day. They said that normally it takes people 2 to 3 days to collect the amount of stem cells that you need for the transplant, which is calculated by body mass. For me, it was 6 million per kilogram, and I ended up giving like 24 million day 1, which was absolutely fine with me. And it's not so much about the volume, because it really isn't. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but it's more about the stem cells that they can actually pull out of the blood, like a concentrated amount that they can do over like 4 to 6 hours, which is usually how long it takes in a day. After that, if they don't have enough, they'll pull you in another day. And like I said, it's usually 2 to 3 days, but somehow I'm an overachiever without helping it and could give 4 times as much in 1 day. So after that, they give you like a week to rest before taking you into the hospital and doing the transplant, and that's where I am right now. I'll go to sleep tonight, and when I wake up, it'll only be 5 days to the transplant. And each waking morning just brings a little bit more of anxiety and inevitability to that happening. I've been told that I'm handling this whole process beautifully, but inside, I'm always terrified. So much so that I really don't know how to express it. The face of fear is different for everyone, and we all have to fight in our own ways. I find that levity in any stressful situation has always done me well. I'm the kind of person that will crack jokes to the nurses after they find me in a nausea-induced vomiting session, bad enough that it blows vessels in my eyes. Because at the end of the day, no matter how bad you feel, no matter what situation you're in control of two things and two things only: your actions and your attitude. And I plan to use both to bring some smiles and a little joy to an outright dismal experience. Because why not? The only other alternative is to mope and groan and complain, and honestly, I doubt anyone would blame you in this situation. But I've chosen to do and be better, and this includes the worst times, especially the worst times. And that's partly what I hope to share at the end of every one of these episodes. Like, I don't know how I'm going to handle it. Side effects are different for everybody. Mentally, between the medicines and how my body's reacting, I have no idea. And it's not going to be pretty. But if I can find the strength, not just to face this head on, but to do it with some humor and a smile, I just might make a difference to someone facing the same thing. I'm here for you as we face this together. Not just cancer, but the difficulties that life places in our path. I love you all, and I hope you stay tuned for more.